Here's a quick video to show you how to control an Arduino Uno from an application written in C#. We'll use an Arduino Uno, a USB cable and Visual Studio. No external dependencies or software libraries are required. You don't even need any electronic components, as all we'll be doing is switching the Arduino's internal LED on and off from our C# application. Later in this video, I'll show you an amazingly powerful C# library for controlling the Arduino and a few other microcontrollers. Alas, it no longer works with Visual Studio 22 or .NET Core. So for this tutorial, we're going back to basics. There are two parts to this tutorial. First, we need to write some C# code in Visual Studio. Then we need to upload a sketch to the Arduino that will allow the microcontroller to listen for commands from the host PC. So what we'll do is to start Visual Studio 22, and then we need to go to create a new project. The type of project is up to you, but here I'm going to use a Windows Form app using the .NET framework. So I'll click on this one, next. So we'll give it a name and select the latest .NET framework, which is 4.8 here, and create the project. Okay, so this gives us a blank Windows project, so we can click on Start and you'll see that a window should appear here. Okay, that looks okay, but of course it's empty at the moment. Let's do some coding. So we'll add a couple of buttons via the toolbox. Put button here, make it a bit bigger. And the text should be on. So this one will control the LED and switch it on. And the name, we'll call it buttonOn. Then we'll copy and paste this one and make an off button. Call this one buttonOff. So now when we double click on the on button, we can see the on click event. So we need to write some code to turn on the LED on the Arduino when we click on this button. So the first thing I'm going to do is scroll up to the top and add a reference to System.io.ports. This will allow us to control the Arduino via a serial port connection. Next, I'll create an object for the serial port, and I'll call it serial port with a small s. So we want to instantiate an instance of this object when the form loads. So we'll put it here. That's kind of exactly what we need, but we need to change the constructor. The first one is the COM port name, and mine is COM12. If you don't know what your COM port is, you can look in the Arduino Uno app. The second thing we need is the baud rate, and we'll use 9600. So these are the settings for the serial port. Next thing, we should put some code here to check that this serial port is actually usable. So this I put in a try-catch loop. So we do serial port.open, and it will catch the error. If it can't open, then it will put an error message down here. All we need to do now is to add a couple of lines of code here. So if serial port is open, then we will do serial port.write and then send a 1. This will turn on the LED. So let's double click on the off button, and we need some code here, and you've guessed it, we will send it a 0 if we want to turn the LED off again. So that's pretty much all we need here. You could actually consolidate these into a separate function and also wrap it around like a try-catch, or just check that the serial port is open. If you're using an app that's like a long-running app, then somebody might interfere with a USB, or some other app might grab the port. Now let's work on the code required on the Arduino. So I've started the Arduino IDE, and we need to write some code in here. We need a couple of lines of code in the setup routine. So the first thing we do is to set pinMode to the built-in LED and have that as output. You can use any pin and use your own LED, but here I'm using the built-in one. The next thing we need to do is to initialize the serial port. So we can do that by Serial.begin and then specifying the baud rate 9600. A key thing here is to make sure it's the same as the baud rate that we specified in the Visual Studio app. Now we need to add some code into the loop. So replace that comment and paste in the code. So basically this code loops round and it looks for Serial.available. And if the serial port is available, it reads a character using Serial.read. And if it finds a 1, it will switch on the built-in LED. and if it's a 0, it will turn it off again. There's a short delay as well. So I'll upload that. Oh, first I've got to connect the Arduino. So I will connect the Arduino and then upload this sketch. Just remember, you can check the ports here. So COM12, that matches our Visual Studio as well. Just remember, if you plug in your Arduino to a different USB port, then you'll have to change the COM ports here. Let's check that this code works. So we will start the Visual Studio project. Let's see what happens when we click the On button. Okay, so there's an error message in the output window here, says unable to open COM port. So I've just realized this serial monitor is open in the Arduino IDE, so we have to close the serial monitor. So we'll start the app again, click the On button. Yes, so the LED has been switched on, and we'll click on Off, and it's been switched off again to On, Off. So it looks like our code is working. That's pretty much all we need to do, really. I'll quickly show that you don't have to send a 1 and a 0, so you can just send like A or B here. Remember, you can send anything, but they just have to be consistent between Visual Studio and the Arduino IDE. So we'll upload this. Let's go and run this application. So yeah. So we're sending B to turn it off and A to turn it on, and that will also work. If you want to extend this code to control your own Arduino, then you basically just have to get the Arduino to listen for other characters sent via the USB cable. I'll try and make another video about how to receive data from the Arduino. If you want more control over the Arduino from C#, then it's worth checking out the Arduino driver Nuget package. I used it back in 2018 when I was teaching in China, and I had the bright idea to make a customer satisfaction module. I could then hook it up to my PC and get students to feedback on whether they enjoyed or hated my lessons. This driver is really cool because it allows you to write C# code that resembles the Arduino's own code in respect to pinModes and the like. The major issue with this Nuget package is that it hasn't been updated for a few years. I couldn't get it to work with Visual Studio 2022. It may be possible to upgrade it, but it's not a straightforward job. Curiously, there aren't too many alternative Nuget packages. I'm not sure why this is so. It's possible developers are losing interest in the Arduino and switching to the much more powerful ESP32 and ESP8266 boards. Also, C# has never really taken off as far as microcontrollers are concerned. There's a lot more interest in Python these days. Finally, because of the widespread adoption of boards with Wi-Fi capabilities, it's not really necessary to control a microcontroller via a USB cable. This isn't the 1990s anymore. It may be possible to use the MQTT-net library to communicate with an Arduino, but I couldn't get my head around that one. At the time of recording this video, it's had 3.68 million installs, so I guess it's probably the way forward. I hope you found this video useful. If you do find any decent libraries for controlling an Arduino from C#, then drop a link in the comments section below. Thanks for watching.